Welcome back to B&B Studios, where Burna and Barthy will talk all things happening in the Central Coast Rugby competition. Good chat, good footy, good fun. Take it away, boys.
Welcome back, everyone, to the B&B Unplugging Central Coast Rugby podcast. Mate, we're back in the studio. It's the first time this year, and the audio's not going to be shit.
We hope not. It's good to be back. How we going, everybody? What a great weekend of rugby, Burna. Isn't it good to be back in the studio?
It is good. This is the first episode this year, as I said before, and it is nice to be back. We don't have to do anything over webcam for the moment.
No, correct.
Dangerous times with that. But yeah, mate, huge weekend of rugby that we've just had for both of us as well. Both got out there for different reasons on the weekend, which is obviously awesome. We'll touch on that. How was your week?
Mate, my week was fantastic. Great day on Saturday at the Blue Day, the Mouldy Day. Biggest trouble I had was trying to control myself and not get too excited. And I'm pleased to say I saw first grade kickoff anyway. It was one of the great days. Really, really good day. And what just cements.
So what happened? Tell us about the day. What was
it was just a fantastic day where ex-players came back, and it was for all ex-players, and we've never done that before in Terrigal, certainly not in my time. And it was just a brilliant day. Dylan, Mouldy's son, had a run around. He played a little bit before he moved away, and Mouldy's dad and was there, and his daughter and Lisa, his wife, and it was just great. It's a really good atmosphere. All the ex-players were so excited about the day, and it just really, really cemented and reminded us of what's so special about rugby. It's great community event. It's fantastic, and the Red Devils were brilliant as well. Came up, had a few beers. Had some good chats with some old boys over there, Mose and Gareth Walsh and a few of those guys. And, yeah, just a great day of rugby. It's fantastic.
That's awesome.
I don't know if they enjoyed talking to me, but
no. Well, I
don't know if they understood me either.
No. Well, my conversation, you at halftime at first grade, I wasn't getting much out of you. It's one of those things of, look, mate, I got to let you go.
Just one more thing.
Mate, no, I got to go, mate. I got to go. You're breaking up.
And how'd you go, pal? Put the boots back on. Look out.
Yeah. It was one of those things that I suppose I had mates that, always used to play with when I was younger, and, they just, as happens through your 20s, people drift away and everything, and everyone was back for the one weekend. And, I didn't think the body would hold up at all. Like, I'm just incredibly injury prone at the moment, obviously very aware of that. So, but it was one of those things that if I'm going to get injured, I'm just going to have a blast doing it. Yeah. And I really, it might be a bit self-indulgent, but there's just elements of the game.
Did you dominate? Is that self-indulgent? You dominated?
No, it was a very mixed bag. It was rocks and diamonds. There was some awesome steals, some awesome line-out wins, a couple of head highs, 2 runs per 1 meter, that sort of stuff. Normal performance from me. But no, it was just really good from that day of rugby. Like, I suppose playing for, would have been 14 years, and then not playing for a few years and doing this, you sort of see the game from a different perspective. Yeah, and there's always that feeling of, you kind of want to go back, but you want to play with, the right people. And that's no disrespect to anybody else, but you got your mates who you grew up with, and that element of nostalgia. And there was a point where it was just awesome. Like, I was standing at the back at 8, and I had, 2 best mates at 6 and 7, another one at 9. And it's just those things of, like, you can't replicate that. You can't do that in just everyday life.
Was Heidi the 9?
Heidi was the 9.
Was he giving you plenty of curry at that?
So there was a point where I'm not a selfish player at all, right? I'm a very team first man, but we were about 40 centimeters, or the ball was about 40 centimeters out from their line. Yeah. And I was the first person over the ruck. And every forward would know this dilemma, that when you're the first person there, you can just see the ball and you can see the line in your head. You go, all I've got to do is get that ball to that line. That's it.
Yeah.
Then you got the halfback obviously screaming, blow.
Well, the halfback wants it for himself.
Well, exactly what they want. And then I've never done this, but in that moment, I thought, I can do that. I can pick that ball up and I can put on that line. And I couldn't. I picked it up and it got jammed. And it got ruled a knock on. I didn't lose it all, but it got ruled a knock on. So that was a decision. And then I'm just like, I'm the worst human in the world. And I got greedy, and I got up, and Heidi just looking at me like, mate. But no,
all these years of experience.
Yeah. And it
amounted to nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. First tackle of the game, head high. Then the next ruck I went into still on a ball. I'm like, this is going to be an everything game here. So no, it was a lot of fun. And also what was really good, playing it against Lakes, playing against Ray Harner as well. I really enjoyed that. Obviously,
he would have given you some curry, surely.
It was just so much fun.
Yeah,
it was just it was awesome. And Dakota was there as well, playing 8. and every clean out was just harder than on the ground. It was just, a bit of a laugh and everything. And just, the line out battle against Erina was awesome. So, obviously played with so much respect and every, both teams went hard, but it was just a really good game of rugby. And then, and again, for me, from a selfish perspective, it was just nice to play a game with mates. And that was a one-off kind of thing. But then straight after the game, you start looking at the draw. I'm like, oh, when else are we free? And start matching the dates up again and everything. So, I'm hoping to have another run. So it was really good. And it was good as well to see, I suppose, a bit of a change in the club at Wee Wee as well.
Yeah.
And, new people coming in, and even a lot of the players in second grade, like they hadn't played much rugby before. And
they put in it was good competitive match.
Yeah, but they're willing to learn. Even, just for example, in a line out, calling the line outs and just sort of going straight up, but not worrying about what the opposition's doing or anything like that. Just those little things of, I suppose you got to get used to after a while in rugby, but just not knowing the rules, but not having the shits about it, just willing to learn the whole time. And that was what was really good about playing with that team. So, I absolutely loved it on the weekend, mate. So had an absolute blast. And I do want to give Lakes a shout out because that was a really good game of rugby. Absolutely no shit. So, which was good stuff. Anyway.
Well, those of you who are listening, I'd like to know how Burna went. They went down to the Lakes in Premier 2. The score was 24 points to 12. Again,
results not not to be touched on, mate. Just
could have been a lot closer. A lot closer. 24-19 or something like that if you had scored that try. But anyway,
could have been.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda, but didn't. So, mate, great. Good to see you back playing rugby too, mate, to be honest. It's fantastic. Good
that was
stuff.
Awesome. And it was also good to have beers on the sideline for first grade after you have that run in second. So, seeing rugby from a bit of a different perspective on the weekend, which was awesome.
Well, mate, let's get in the results around. Thanks to Gus and the team at Erina Podiatry.
Let's do it. I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier doing it. Doing the studio and just pressing buttons here. All right, mate. What do you want to start with?
Well, let's start with the men's. And we'll start with the exquisite exterior cleanup of the week. Well, I should give it to Carl.
100% you should. You promised last week.
Yeah. I'm going to give it to the Red Devils' first half performance. No, look, I won't. Not being disrespectful. The Trojans were absolutely red hot in that first half. There's no doubt about that. They were outstanding, the Terrigal side, and really sort of, put the Devils to the sword. And I thought, oh, here we go. Like, it was maybe 30-something to 0 at half time. It was going to be a tough day.
Or something like that.
I mean, the red card very early on in the match didn't help the Red Devils. There's no doubt about that. I completely missed it. You'd be surprised I was somewhere else when that happened. So I didn't see it, and I don't know. Other than the guy being sent off, I'm not too sure. But it was a clinical performance by the Trojans. It really was, and they put Gossard to the sword in that first half, that first 40-minute performance. But mate, I've got nothing but respect for the Red Devils. They just hung tough for the whole 80 minutes, and they were competitive. They scored in the second half. Maybe 7 all in the second half.
It was 7 all in the second half. So even have a player down. I think there's a couple of yellows to Terrigal as well in the second half, which sort of, that playing 14 on 14.
Again, I didn't see those.
It just doesn't surprise me. I'm just letting you know what happened in the game that you were at.
There's a lot of man colour, a lot of man love going on. I was cuddling a lot of people on Saturday.
But what can usually happen in that moment is obviously when Terrigal are running rampant, it's very easy for your team to implode. And the Red Devils did not do that at all in the second half. Yeah. So, it's happened to a Razorbacks as well at the start of their game this year. Terrigal just blew them off the park in the first half. Yeah. They're just so clinical, and it's very hard to adjust to it. But once they did, the Red Devils, obviously 7 all in the second half is a big result for them. But just, the damage was done too early.
They're an impressive side, the Gossard Red Devils. They really are. And just getting combinations that, they're a brand new side. They're a completely different side from last year, and they're building something nice. Chatting to a few of the older boys, Mose and Gareth, afterwards. There's obviously some concerns about the future of the club and needing to develop juniors and those sorts of things. But they got some really good people doing some good things there and trying their guts out. They're working hard. So all the very best of the Red Devils. They put up a good fight, but the Terrigal Trojans weren't going to be denied on that day. It was an outstanding performance in all grades, from President's Cup all the way through. It was a great day, a big day, and well done to everyone who was there. Awesome. So that's our exquisite exterior cleanup of the week. Goes to the Red Devils and especially Carl in the front row. So
we really hope to have you back on for a sponsor next year, Carl, as well.
All right, let's move on, and we're going to head up to Lake Macquarie, to Bullaroo, and the Lake Macquarie Roos. Unfortunately, my statistical analysis of the club has taken a bit of a hit, and the Roos went down.
Well, they bucked the trend.
Yeah, the Roos went down 87-0, which is horribly disappointing for them, as I'm sure they expect more of themselves. But realistically, I'm not even going to bother trying to dissect the Hornsby results because name withheld scored a lot of goals, kicked a lot of goals, and scored a lot of tries. So, but what I am impressed with from that Hornsby victory, comparatively, it's the same size victory as the Terrigals and the Avoca Beaches and Arimba have sort of put up against the Roos. So it sounds like it was pretty impressive and big victory and much needed points for the Hornsby side.
What I actually loved as well was seeing on the social. It's obviously always everyone that has a bus trip to Hornsby, but Hornsby having the big bus trip up to Lake Macquarie and just seeing everyone there just ready for party mode. And there was gave shout outs as well, Hornsby to Lake Macquarie and them hosting everything as well. That was absolutely awesome to see from a Dave Rugby perspective, but massive win there for Hornsby. I think that will, as you said, the size of the victory is obviously massive. I don't think they've won like that in a long time.
No, not that I can remember.
Yeah. And to sort of have that win and be up there with, that size of the victory that other sort of teams are having as well.
Well, congratulations to the Lakes getting their first, or I think it's their first win of the season.
Hornsby? Is that who you're talking about?
No, Lakes. I'm moving on to Lakes.
Are you moving on to Lakes? Are you? Okay. Yep. You're right. Congratulations, Lakes.
What a stunning and competitive match. You were there, Burna. How did you see it?
Like you, Barthy, a little bit preoccupied for a lot of the game. It was a really even match, though. It was basically Lakes at the end that just kind of snuck away a bit, and we were coming home hard. And then with about 5 to go, they were pressing against the line and just stupid. It was really poor discipline. Very similar to, as I just explained what happened to me in second grade. Someone was pressing against the line and got ruled to be knocked on, but got up and just kept on pressing against the ref and just saying wasn't knock on. And Lenny, to his credit, being the referee, just said, that's the decision. Made the decision and move on. And he couldn't move on from it. And it got to the point in which it just kept on escalating. Lenny had to red card him. It's just the dumbest shit I think I've seen. And watching just going, what is happening? And I want to give a massive rap to Lenny here. Because he just stood his ground the whole time. And, the Warway players as well were trying to, deal with the player and sort of take him off and be like, it's done, mate. It could have just been a knock-on, turnover. Lakes have the ball 5 meters out from their own line trying to clear. That's what it could have been. Instead, it turned into a red card, penalty, march down the field, and then imploding.
It
was so dumb. And I want to congratulate Lenny as well, because how he dealt with that situation when you had a player that was, could not accept that ball was knocked on, regardless if it was or not. That's the decision that's made. Cop it. And he dealt with it outstandingly. And there's also a bit of shit after the game as well, which I'll touch on later on, which I'm not too happy about.
Well, let's focus on the positives, and that is the Lakes getting their victory. So well done. It's good to see them in their circles, given their cheer. And unfortunately, that brain explosion could have cost Warboy the match. 39 points to 27. The Lakes getting a well-deserved and much-needed victory to kick off their 2023 season.
They had a couple of players play 2 grades as well, played seconds, then their
Lakes.
Play seconds and run back out to first. Ashton Hutchinson Malters is very impressive. Mate, when you're playing against him, he's a little bit more impressive than you think.
I was going to say he's a handy Premier 2 player.
Very. They were awesome. Also want to give a shout out to Casey Woodford. He weighs about 65 kilos, the Warway number 7 captain. And he just plays so far above his weight. Like if he was like 90, 100 kilos as a number 7, he'd just be unstoppable. He's got the best tackle technique in the comp. He just bounces off everyone. It's so good to watch, just especially in that team that has so much size. He's just the odd one out, and he just leads the line every single time. He's just like a little Energizer bunny. He's awesome.
Good stuff. You need the skinny people. They get through all the fat ones when they're trying to get to the ball.
Exactly. He does it very well as well, Casey.
So well done, Lakes. All right, now to what we said was going to be the match of the round, and very much it sounded like it was. The Warnavale Wildcats going down 19 points to 31. The Avoca Beach Sharks getting the victory there get a load of this, Burner. 3 tries apiece, 2 conversions apiece. The difference, 4 penalty goals.
It's the man who kicks the penalty goals that if you told me at the start of the year, I would have been like, nah, it's not happening. Theon Henderson Foley. He's got the golden boot this year. And we did say it's going to be the match of the round. I think you tipped Wildcats, and I said maybe Avoca just on experience. And I think that scoreline probably blew out a little bit in the end. And what was it, 12 points was the scoreline at the end, which was still incredibly close, but it was just going, it was like 3 points, 4 points every time I checked on the app. It was so close. And for more reports, it was an absolutely cracking game.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we expected from the game.
And discipline was the difference. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
So great victory by the Avoca Beach Sharks. That wouldn't have been an easy one. And just on that, and the taking of the points, I digress a little bit at the Terrigal Gosford game. Terrigal took a shot at points after maybe the first 3 or 4 minutes, and when they did that, I've gone, they're on here. They're here to win the game.
Yeah,
and that, everyone goes, oh yeah, play some exciting football. Sometimes the excitement starts with the pressure on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do. And obviously Avoca have been very smart in that regard and just kept the pressure on. And it was that pressure that leads to more penalties, more infringements, more discipline issues by the opposition. And you just continue to exploit that and get points. So
it's that team first mentality, because I don't think anyone on the field just goes, I really want to take the 3 here. Like everyone, if you're within that distance, probably all 15 players, unless you're the goalkeeper or the captain, want to go, yeah, we want to press forward. We want to line out. We want to attack this line. But it's just that team first mentality of just trying, taking the points and that scoreboard pressure is so important as well.
Yeah.
Like if you're 9 points, if Terrigal 3 penalty goals, 9 points up over a team, like they've got to score 2 tries. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
To get back against Terrigal. So yeah.
And such a tight match in the Avoca Warnervale game. Both sides fancy themselves defensively, and again, pressure's on. Exactly what you said. It's 2 tries. Come and get them. We'll do your best to. So they were the results of the round. Thanks.
What?
Yeah, they were the results of the round.
Can you buy an S, please?
I was talking a bit the same on Saturday.
Do you want to go over the women's, mate?
Yeah, let's do that. All right, here we go. Women. Unfortunately, the Terrigal women had a bye, so I didn't get to watch them run around on Saturday. But there have been some cracking matches, and I'm going to save that one to last. Let's get to the absolute shellackings. The first one's going to be the Avoca Beach women's. How bad am I going?
This is no standard to normal. I think it's just that you buy yourself and you find comfort in that.
That's right. I found comfort by myself a few times anyway. That's for B&B After Dark.
That is.
The Avoca Beach women, 72-0. I tell you, it's got to be a different Warnervale side, or you're saying you had a good look through. It was very similar to the week
Radford
before.
Was playing a couple others as well from the week before, but that is a huge victory.
They've shown up at the wrong time because the Avoca Beach women have absolutely handed it to them. 12 tries.
It's a 0.
Yeah, 12 tries to 0. Shani Waters back. It's been a little bit quiet on the try scoring front. Scored 4 today, 4 on Saturday. And I tell you, they may have found a secret weapon in Jada Staven. She kicked a few conversions, which is great.
What was I haven't looked at the conversions I know I'm making you. Do you want me to do it?
No, it was 50%.
Was that?
Yeah, I'm good with my statistics. So they're learning, the Sharks. They're starting to either score the tries under the post, or their training's working. I'm not too sure, but
still concerning when you're happy with 50%.
Yeah, flogging. I tell you what, they should take 50%. But
what I was from a Warnervale perspective, I know the result was shocking, but from a socials perspective, just seeing them
love it,
what they're doing, regardless of the results, that culture that they're building off the field is so important. And Avoca obviously a class side, and hats off to Avoca, they're freaks, in a good way. But what Warnervale are doing is you just see them having fun. You want to be a part of that culture. That's a really important thing that they're actually pushing out there. So if you just see that result on the weekend and you didn't see any of that stuff on the, on socials, whatever, you think, oh, well, what's going on here? But you see all that and it kind of plays you a little bit. You're like, well, they're having fun. Like they're enjoying themselves. And that's what Saturdays are about.
And that's the first thing that's important in rugby is to enjoy it.
100%.
So, would have been a tough day, but they're on to good things, the Wildcats. So let's move on to the next shellacking. The Woolwee women failed to trouble the scorers, and the Lakes hit back after a shock last week, and they win 67 points to 0 to Erina Ha'ami, scoring 4 tries, and Kirsty Lawson, the Golden Boot, kicking 5 from 6, I believe. So 11 tries, big victory to the Lakes women.
Yeah, Lakes were clinical. They were a step above, and obviously won a big performance after the game against the Wildcats last week, and they were so good. They were just awesome. They put Woy to the sword. And Jess Maroney actually wrote into us and wanted to give a shout out to the Woy girls because they never gave up. And I didn't care about what the scoreline was unless it was, I just didn't want it to be 28-0. That was my only thing. And also want to give a shout out to Aisha Curdy, who's leading Woy this year and has recruited a lot of players, and a lot of them, I want to say a lot. I think it's 10 there, 10, 11 there now. And these girls haven't played rugby before. I was chatting with her on the weekend. Her goal was just obviously to, keep playing every single week, and forfeiting's the last things that she actually wants to do. So she wants to, keep taking the games and just keep getting that experience. And the reality is that they're probably going to struggle a bit on the scoreboard this year, but the biggest thing is development. And it's a bit of I want to shout out the competition as well that there might be times, and which is the reality of having sort of 10 players, that when we are traveling, they might only be bringing 6 or 7, but you don't want that 28-0 forfeit, or you might have the forfeit, but you don't want to not have a game.
Yeah, you want to play.
And for the development of the game, I think it's one of the things where, and this isn't, could have happened with Razorbacks earlier in the year as well, but just having that game of rugby, whether you have to loan players, whatever it is, for the development of those players in the competition, I think will be really important. But massive shout out to what Aisha Curdy and what she's doing. We're trying to rebuild that team.
Well, my phone has just beeped, and Danielle Theron is available for an interview.
Is she?
So we're going to get her on very shortly. But before we do that, let's cover off on the women's game, the final one. What an absolute bell ringer. The Hornsby women, the Nalas, running out victors 29 points to 24.
Cracker.
How good. 4 tries apiece, 2 conversions apiece, and the 1 try difference. Beck Rogers scores and wins them the match. I just want to give a quick shout out to Shani Mason from the Razorback women, getting a double duple.
A double duple.
Double duple. That's a duple of duples, and outstanding performance by her. Well done. So the Nalas, they're slowly starting to get themselves back into the competition. And I think it's a real big congratulations to the Razorbacks. It just proves what an outstanding women's side they're developing into. And it's a really good comparison you can draw now to the struggles that Woy are going through. Razorbacks and Erina have been in the same situation a little bit earlier on in the last couple of seasons, but they've persisted. They've put good systems in place, and the girls are developing, and they're playing some outstanding rugby. So it's well done to the Razorbacks women. There's absolutely no shame in going down just by that last 1 try, because that Hornsby side, I think they're clearly the 3rd best, or they used to be. They're no longer anymore. They've got to work their way back up to it, and that's what I'm loving about the competition.
Typing in a number here, mate.
Yeah,
going well. Thank you for that long wrap up there.
Well, I was trying my best to stretch it out, and you.
It was beautiful. Yeah, I know. I've got it.
Anyway,
right.
So here comes Danielle.
Danielle Theron from the Lakes.
Hello, boys.
How are we going? You are live. We are recording straight away. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Outstanding.
We're going absolutely awesome. So big win for you girls on the weekend. How are you girls traveling?
Oh, it was fantastic. We needed it after the previous Saturday. We're doing really good. We've got a lot of numbers this year, and all the girls have a great positive vibe.
Now, on a personal front, scored a try. How far out?
Yes, I did.
60, 70?
Oh, about 30.
60, 70. Yeah. Come on, you got
I'll tell you what, we'll agree to 45.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So this weekend, have Woy again at home?
Yes, we do.
Yep, awesome. And so what are you sort of picturing from the year? Like what have you got to work on? What have you learnt for the first sort of 7 odd games?
I think our physicality is great. Our defence is really good. I think we could possibly sharpen our attack a bit more, maybe be a bit more creative. We have a lot of strength in the team. We're very speedy. We can kick. I think it's just changing it up a bit, being a bit more creative.
So you're getting a lot of the girls to training, Danielle, and you're getting that opportunity to start to put a few sort of combinations together?
Yes, we've got a good, strong left and right side, and majority training sessions, we have around 15 to 20 girls almost show up.
That is awesome.
Yeah, good.
It's fantastic.
Who's the winger? You got a winger that's very speedy. Who's that?
That's Erina.
Yeah. I saw the video that was put up of her with that try, and that was just crazy pace.
She's insane. Her speed is 1 in a million.
We've got 4 tries on the weekend. She's had an outstanding game.
Yeah, as long as we get it out to her, she'll be pretty sure to score a try.
That's awesome. And I suppose, it's no secret, obviously, the 2 big teams in the competition at the moment are Terrigal and Avoca. What do you think you've got to do to sort of close the gap between those 2?
Well, after our game against Terrigal, we were quite neck and neck at half-time. I think it's mainly probably just working on game fitness, staying in the game, and continuing our pressure from the first half into the second half.
Yeah, awesome.
It all makes a lot of sense too, because as a team, you ladies are there or thereabouts, and you're quite competitive. And just a few moments you fall away in sort of some of those games just before half time and just into the second half. So the fantastic thing, you still got more than half the season to fix that. So it's going to be looking good coming into the semi-finals.
That's it. You don't win the competition in July or June, so
or July either.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Danielle, thank you very much for jumping on, especially at late notice, and also jumping straight on with no lead in at all. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Thank you very much. Good luck this weekend.
Go Lakes.
Thank you. Yes, go Lakes. Bye.
Good on you. Thanks. How good.
Awesome.
Jumping straight on. And you know what? Fitting straight into that side, playing some good rugby too.
Yeah, she's a very exciting player to watch, Danielle. Is that our results done? Have you gone through everything?
I think I have.
All right. Well, that's the results of the round. Thanks to Gus and Saber down at Podiatry. I'll just see if we can get Gus up.
It's over there in the
no,
corner.
I think he's just showing someone's foot, pointing at someone's foot. We might leave Gus. Then he might go to the next part. Just been reminded that getting the games for this weekend is my job.
So
turn that down.
What do we got on, mate? What's happening?
I'll tell you, mate. I'll just tell you in 1 second. So we'll start with the women's. So it's round 8 this weekend. First game we'll start with Lakes. They're going to host Woi Woi. Obviously, it's basically a repeat of last weekend. Yeah. So, you would tip Lakes to obviously get home in this one. But the biggest thing for me with this is, as I spoke about, we've got a team.
Woi Woi travelling. Sorry.
Woi Woi are travelling. Yes, it is at. Yeah, it's at Slade.
I just don't want a 28-0 scoreline. Like yourself.
Yep. Or if it is a 28-0 scoreline, it is because they've told them and they've gone and they've played a game of rugby. That's what needs to happen, especially if you've got 15, 20 players at training.
They've brilliantly defensively. They've improved their defence enormously, and Lakes only score 4 tries.
Exactly.
Or 28-0, Woi Woi score 4 tries and Lakes don't score a try.
Yeah, if that's going to happen. Next game, Hornsby host Terrigal. Mark Taylor Oval at the Rock, at the Pillow. Sorry.
At the Rock. This will be a good test for the Trojan women because, they've been denied a game the last couple of weeks and could go one or two ways. It could be horrible for the Hornsby women. The Terrigal Trojans are just going to come out firing and fresh as a daisy and just rip right in and rip right through them, which I think is going to be the case. Hornsby have started to put a few performances together, which is nice to see, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough to arrest the speed, the skill, and the power of the Terrigal Trojan women. So I see the Trojan women winning this. I guess it'll be a good indication of how well the Hornsby women are back, how close the Nailers are to being back by the results. But I think the Terrigal Trojan women will win, and time will tell with the scoreline.
They're on a heater at the moment, the Nailers. They've been Warnervale 36-5, and they beat the Razorbacks 24-7. They obviously won on the weekend against the Razorbacks again, 29 points to 24. But I think Terrigal's a bit of a different beast. I think this is where they'll sort of meet their matchup this weekend. So I think Terrigal will win and win well this weekend. The
thing I'm loving about it, though, is they've had the opportunity to get some momentum. Yep. So I think it's going to be a really competitive match. And I mean in no disrespect to the Nala women, because they're an outstanding rugby side. I've made that very clear over the years, but they're just not. It's just not gelling at the moment for them. They've got a few good wins, but also too those wins have been to the lower half of the competition.
Yeah.
So a big test for them on Saturday. They should do well.
Yep. In the last game, the Razorbacks host Avoca.
Only 2 games.
No, we had Lakes and Moy, and then we had Hornsby Terrigal, and now we've got Razorbacks Avoca.
Yeah. I drift in and out of paying attention.
No, I know that you do. That's what I'm here for, mate.
Who's the last game?
Razorbacks and Avoca.
Sharks will win this by. Sharks will win it
at the Pig Pen.
It won't be. It won't go all their own. They won't get it their own way. The Razorbacks have proven. Just touched on a bit earlier on that they're a much improved outfit. They're a good They've put in some good performances, and they've got some high quality women in that side. Whether or not they can get the ball in those key moments and those key areas throughout the match is going to be the telltale difference between performances previous and going forward, because that Avoca Beach side are going to be relentless. They're going to be non-stop. So when they get those half chances, those Razorback women, they have to take it and they execute those opportunities. I hate that word, execute. They need to convert those opportunities into points, and they're not going to get many. And for it to be competitive and apply the pressure, they have to make sure they get it right.
Yep, Avoca for me as well. Let's go to Premier 1. So we have the bye this weekend. Let's start with the Battle of. We've already got a Battle of the North. The Battle of the Border, Lakes and Lake Macquarie.
Battle of the Border.
Can we go with that one?
Yeah, the Border Battle. I like it.
Can't go the Battle of the Far North. It's got to be the Battle of the Border.
That's it. But yeah, Battle of the Border.
So Lenny, do what you want with that.
Yeah.
Whatever graphic you want. I think the Battle for the Border, Lakes hosting Lake Macquarie at Slade Park.
Well, the good thing of working in the Roos' favour is they don't have to travel far.
Yep.
So hopefully they can get the strongest team they can field. I think the Lakes victory last week against Woy, I think it's really good for that club and an opportunity for them to spring themselves up into some more competitive performances. And I think it's going to be at the expense of the Roos. It's just going to be a case of, lessons learned and the development continuing for Lake Macquarie, and to see what the final score will be. But I think the Lakes will. I think they'll win. They'll win comfortably.
Yep. Lakes for me as well. Second game, Mark Taylor Oval, Hornsby hosting Terrigal. Hornsby with a good win on the weekend.
Yeah. And a good time to play Terrigal. You're coming off obviously a highly emotional day on Saturday. A really good first half performance, but I guess they were disappointed when I spoke to a few players that they didn't continue on with it. But I think that's also credit to how well Gosford sort of didn't allow that to happen. Good chance for the Hornsby side to see where they're at, where they're travelling. They've had some pretty hot and cold performances. If they're hot, it's going to be a good game, very good game. I don't think at their best they're good enough to beat Terrigal at this point in time, and I think the Trojans will win, and I think they'll win by a few points. It'll just be a case of, that the consistency in performances that the Hornsby haven't had so far. If they can get a consistent performance, then I think we'll get a better idea of whether they're going to be challenging for the semi spots a bit later on. But Terrigal for me.
Yeah, I'm the same as you there. I think it is going to be pretty one-sided, I think, for this one for me. I think there's a couple of things that I think sort of happen. I think Terrigal's got a big game. Obviously, now I'm thinking about it, there is the bye round the following round, but after that, they've got Avoca at home. And I know they'd be looking at that one going, that's the big one. But I don't think Terrigal are the team that is going to look at it like that. I think they are far too clinical. And
they're there to do a job.
Yeah, they're there to do a job, and they'll go there and they'll take it actually game by game. And they won't, get lured into the bus trip kind of mentality and go there and put on a shootout performance. And I think that's Terrigal at all. So I think Terrigal will win well. No disrespect to Hornsby. Terrigal on absolute fire. This one will be a cracker, mate. Gosford hosting the Wildcats at Gosford Showground.
Wow.
This is a clash.
Yeah, this is. And whilst
could be match of the round, but I think the next one is.
I was going to say, I stretch a little. Can you just check? Because I think this might be for fourth place. Wildcats have been getting close. I know Gosford were there.
So Warnervale are on 19 points. Gosford are on 15 points.
There we go. So the Red Devils win. They go into fourth.
Warnervale's got a much better for and against, 57. Gosford's minus 23. So a bonus point win by Gosford would see them leapfrog Warnervale.
Well, mate, they're a good enough side to do it, Gosford, and get that bonus point victory. I think it's too early in the season for them at the moment. But the beautiful thing for the Red Devils is that second half performance. They need to take that tenacity into the start of next week's game. And if they do that, they will strangle the Wildcats, and the Wildcats will find it very difficult to score. That's going to be the secret, and that's going to be the key for the Redbacks, the bloody Red Devils.
Red Devils.
For the Red Devils to really stretch the Wildcats. I think they're capable, and I really think they're. I'm going to go a draw. 18-all draw.
I'm going to tip Gosford, and I don't exactly know why. I've just can feel it. Feel something about Gosford, and I think last week every party would have said Warnervale, and it probably makes no sense, but I think Gosford are going to sneak home here, and I can't tell you why.
No,
I just feel that way.
Neither.
Warnervale are traveling. Gosford's at home. I just feel Gosford for some reason.
Results either way wouldn't surprise me. I think it's going to be a tight match. What will surprise me if it's a blowout.
Yeah.
If any side wins by 20 points, that'll surprise me a lot. I think the winning margin, if there is going to be one, will be probably less than 8. So I think it's going to be a really good game, and I'll stick with the draw. 18-all.
All right, I'm going to go 19-18 to Gosford. Last game, mate, and this is the match of the round for me with a lot at stake. We got one team who is unbeaten so far, the other team with one loss. The Razorbacks host Avoca. This is a cracker.
Yeah.
This is so good. So with this match, obviously the following week, and I know you can't look too much ahead, but it is the Battle of the Beaches the following round, and it could be two undefeated teams against each other. It could be a lot to play for here, and obviously Avoca to remain undefeated. But there is one team that's being ignored, and I think they're flying under the radar a little bit with how good Avoca and Terrigal are going, and that is the Razorbacks.
Yeah, that is true.
Because we haven't really spoken about the Razorbacks at all, other than the preseason with the team that they got.
They had a bye last week. That's why we didn't take.
That's why we haven't spoken about it for a little bit.
Correct.
But their wins haven't been huge. They haven't been setting the world on fire.
They're a little bit like that,
Yeah, I know.
When they made the grand final last year, they just ground away.
Yeah,
and they did what they had to do to win. And they did what they had to do to win often in the last 10 minutes of the match.
Yeah.
And that's impressive when you can hold a team in the grind for that long and then get them and time your run so well. It's gonna be a bloody great game. It's going to be really good. Conditions and the state of the pig pen might be the decisive factor. On a dry track, I'm going to back the Sharks. On a wet muddy track, I'm going to back the Razorbacks. Can you do a quick weather forecast for me? Now, a lot of the time when we're thinking about tips and who's going to win,
I'm surprised you got the bomb app downloaded. Congratulations.
It's not unusual to
no rain. Oh, this is a belter. No rain all week. 23 on Saturday, which is unheard of for this time of year. Pissing down on Sunday apparently, but that doesn't matter.
Well, let's just hope that rain doesn't come early. Well, let's hope it comes early if you're a Razorback fan. That's going to be the secret to the Razorbacks' victory for mine. I think it's difficult to say because the Razorbacks are a very good outfit. But the point of difference for me is going to be the balance in the expanse of the games that they can play. The Razorbacks are a very, very dangerous out wide in those wider channels that the Peruke boys are playing, and I think they've got. I just don't think they're as balanced in their outer backs as the Avoca Beach side is, and I think that could be the difference between the two teams. It's going to be an absolute cracking match. 18-all draw.
It's hard to get to 18 as well. My feelings towards this is last week I backed Avoca, and I just thought they had a little bit too much class over Warnervale last week.
They proved to have.
I don't know if they've got that. I suppose that that ability to close out
games. They're not as classy as the Razorbacks, is that what you're saying?
I don't think one of ours is classy.
I can tell you now, there's been about 15 martini glasses dropped in the Voca Beach because you said they're not as classy as the Razorbacks.
I just think, this is a draw game for me. I'm going to pick Razorbacks because I think their experience, and also your thing of, they don't have the experience in the wider channels. That didn't matter last year, and that's what gave us the shits. They stacked the back line with fours, and they still won the game.
Where's the people's 13?
Yeah,
if he's playing in the back row.
So he was injured, but he might be back around here. So I think it comes down to that. Jared Grange plays this weekend, the Razorbacks win. That's it. If he doesn't, they lose. No pressure, Grangey, but if you play, you win. You can take with that what you want. That's the games this weekend. So in the men's, Gosford host Warnervale, Lakes host Lake Macquarie, Hornsby host Terrigal, and the Razorbacks host Avoca. Woi with the bye. All right, well, so that's the games for the week. Something I did want to touch on, and I suppose just shed a little bit of light. We got sent in something on the weekend, and we've been, I suppose, preaching the good word of referees for the last few weeks, but also just, trying to cut out the shit on the sideline. I think we've got a lot of success, and I don't want to sound like every game is like this, because there is absolutely awesome stuff. But in the isolated incidents where things are happening, and I'll give an example of the weekend, there was a junior coach that has been suspended for 5 games for abusing a junior referee.
Yeah.
So you've got someone who is yelling at a young referee. And again, we need referees in our games. And I just don't get this mentality that we have, or that people have, not that we have. And I know that a huge amount of the rugby community is on the same page with this, but for the dickheads that aren't, we've got to hold them accountable. And it's not necessarily the people that, blow up and like this guy who's, abused the referee on the weekend, but it's just that subtle stuff on the sideline that we've just got to stop. We've got to pull up and we've got to address, because that obviously fuels and leads to something in, and that's culture. And it's those small things that we've got to change, because that referee who gets abused, why would you come back? Why would you do it?
Yeah.
What is the purpose? If you've got an adult, if you're a junior as well, you got an adult, same age as mum and dad, who's yelling at you because you've made the wrong call, whether you think it's right or not, you've made the wrong call. Even if you have, and you go, shit, maybe that wasn't the right one. How terrified are you now with that whistle going out? What makes you go, I'm excited to go and referee a game of rugby next Saturday? You're not, as if you'd be.
Yeah.
It's shocking. It's the same with playing and everything, but referees obviously very unfairly targeted, because probably the other 30 players in the field aren't doing the right thing. But it comes at the expense of the referee, and especially a young referees. And we should have zero tolerance for that. So if you see that stuff on the sidelines, we've got to call it up. As uncomfortable as that may be, if they're in your club or they're your mate or whatever, you've got to pull it up. We've got to develop that culture and rebuild that. And again, I think we're 99% of us are on the same page.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
The 1%, the isolated part, we've got to get rid of it.
When that 1% goes unchecked, it then impacts the individual. And we don't have little Johnny or little Mary come back to referee next week.
Yeah. And
we don't have families who are going, bring Johnny or Mary down to play rugby, and they're witness to the carry on and that sort of business. It's not on. And just quick question for you. Who won the under-13s game round 6 last year?
I'm not sure.
No one knows.
Exactly.
No one cares.
Exactly.
Now, I've been a junior coach, and I've refereed junior matches, and I can tell you right now, when the whistle goes, kids could not care less. They couldn't care less. All they care about is that, did they get a chance to run with the footy? Did they get a chance to score the try? They don't care about results. They're running around playing touch footy or getting red frogs or whatever the case may be. You know who's standing there steaming and boiling? The over-competitive coach and parents. And their kids, what the game is supposed to be about, they don't care. They've had their fun. They've had their run around. Don't take away from their fun by carrying on like a palooka on the sideline, because at the end of the day, all your kids care about is getting a chance to run, getting a chance to pass the ball. They don't care if it's a knock-on. They don't care if the opposition's allowed to knock the ball on and run on. It's the parents and the carry on the sideline. And here's a scoop. When I was refereeing, I'd award a try and say close enough. But guess what would happen? When the other team got there, I'd award them the try and say close enough. Because when that kid gets up and an under 11s, 12s, 13s, the smile on their face, I've just scored a try. This is the greatest moment of my life. Let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the game's about the kids. It's got nothing to do with you as a parent. You should be there to watch and enjoy it. It's got nothing to do with you as the coach. You should be there to foster enjoyment in the game, not hurl abuse at officials and referees. So now this team, I have absolutely no idea who the team is.
Yeah, I don't know either.
And I don't want to know who the team is
Yep.
or the club is. But this team doesn't have a coach now for 5 weeks.
Yep.
And unless the CCAU have changed their rulings, can have absolutely nothing to do with the team on game day. And I know, personally speaking, my experience being on the judiciary panels over the years, sometimes you are not allowed to have anything to do with the game. Full stop.
Yeah,
it just depends on what that ruling is. So, come on, people, let's be better. Let's do better. And you know what? We've already wasted too much time on this podcast today, speaking about the very small minority of people. But I think it's important that we do it so that the 99% of the good people that are at the rugby and at the sporting communities, we want you to feel safe and feel strong enough to just tap someone on the shoulder and say, "Shh, calm down a little bit."
Yeah.
Or no, it's a kid's game.
Well, there was someone who did do that, and we caught the video footage of that. Who's and happy for us to name him.
Yeah, I think so.
So just a bit of shit on the sideline that would, we won't go into what the shit was, but we do want to isolate Nick Meyer here, who just played 250 games on.
Yeah, congratulations.
This is a good segue, actually.
Yes, it is.
Nice milestone game on Friday
segue.
night. You called him telling people to shut up. And Nick, a little bit lippy himself, known for it. And turned around and he shut the crowd up because he's that player that's got the respect. He's got that man around the club that has the respect. Anything he says is going to go and people are going to take it on board. So if you're a young person or whatever, you're either a peer if you're probably a bit older with Nick, or if you're younger, you're seeing someone who's, your first grade coach and, whatever role he's doing, whatever 10 roles he's doing in the club this year, you're seeing that person who's saying, no, enough's enough. And that's enough for you to go, okay, this actually isn't right. This isn't what we enjoy doing at rugby anymore.
I didn't witness the event, but what was passed on to me was, quote, "You are embarrassing the club.
Yep.
Shut up."
Yep.
So well done to Nick Meyer. I'm sure there's plenty of those. Actually, here's a horrible thought. I'm sure there's plenty of Nick Meyers out there. I'm sure there's plenty of good people out there who do exactly that. So I guess we're just encouraging all to support the same people who love the game the same amount as we do.
Yep.
The referees are as passionate and about the game as you, the spectator, probably more passionate because they're actually out in the middle, so you can actually go and support and watch. So
yeah, and the next thing is that there's a lot of work that Lenny and people at Central Coast Rugby are doing, the referees are doing, to build, like we're trying to build junior programs of players, building junior programs for referees, because that's so important. Obviously, the next generation of referees, and they're doing an awesome job. But when this shit happens, obviously referees hear about it. And when that happens, it just takes one to go, no, I'm not doing this. And they tell their friend, no, I'm not doing it. That's all it takes. You don't have, hundreds of referees. So it's so important that we foster them. So, as a rugby community, that's my point that I really want to push is just shit on the sidelines, stop it towards anybody. And, let's bring this new generation of referees through.
Very good.
What do you got, mate? That's me on my soapbox.
I'm going to finish with some absolutely outstanding news.
What do you got?
We're going to induct someone new into our international 15.
Really?
Our B&B international 15 is getting a new inductee. Shout out to Jess Brooks from the Terrigal Trojan women's side. She's been selected in the Australian police team.
Awesome. Are you sure it's Australian?
I hope so.
Is it the Australian police team?
Yeah, they're touring Canada.
Texie I sent me on whatever day it was, Saturday, said she's in the Canadian police team.
Was that sent on a Saturday?
It was sent on Saturday.
No.
Or maybe that's just how I read it.
Yeah. No, she's definitely selected in the Australian women's police side. So well done, Jess Brooks. Outstanding. Our latest member in the B&B International 15. What a cracking performance.
That is awesome. I think that's us for the week, mate.
I think so.
It's been nice.
Great to be back in the studio.
Mate, it's so much easier as well.
Audio.
For the audio. Do you want to touch on the audio, actually? I think you need to.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we will, because I had quite a few people come up to me and say the audio is shit house.
I love Briggs's video that he posted, the story that he posted.
The simple fact is we can't work out what's wrong. We honestly cannot work out what's happening.
Yeah, so we're doing it each week, and basically same streaming services we're using now, but obviously, through similar thing to, Zoom and FaceTime and Teams and whatever, just that video conferencing sort of thing. But the audio every week is just going in and out. We're swapping things. We're swapping the hosting. We're doing everything differently, and nothing's working. We've spent a bit of money on headphones to try and get the headphones right. We spent $300 on a good pair of headphones, and that's not fixing it. So basically, Barth is the issue. So that's why this week I've had to drag him in and sit him next to me, so that it's possible just to get just one good episode in the year would be nice.
Well, the audio is good. The content's the same.
The content's still shit.
It's great to be back in the studio, though, Burna, I must say.
It is, mate. It's all absolutely awesome.
Big thank you to everyone who's persisted with us with the horrendous audio. We're doing our best to try and fix it. Anyway, we'll keep going on. We'll keep having a good time. Keep supporting us. We love your support. Also, a reminder too, the absolutely generous offer that Carl from Exquisite Exterior Cleaning, 15% off for you if you get in contact with him and say that you'd like the B&B discount. So you own a business, you got a house or somewhere that needs a good scrub down and cleaning. There's a whole variety and a whole gamut of services that he offers. It's not just standing there with a pressure washer. Gets in and does a whole variety of other things. So get in contact with him. Let him know that you're part of the B&B community, and you will get 15% off, which is absolutely awesome.
And Lewis, mate.
Let's get out of here, pal.
See ya.